On today's Veggies with a Slice of Life, I sit down with Andrea Jones Sojola, Broadway performer, mother, wife, and follower of Dr. Sebi's African Bio-Mineral Balance. This specialized vegan lifestyle completely transformed her life, and she's going to tell us all about it. I'm a vegan, mom, wife who lives for her family, actor, director, and lover of the arts. I love yoga and try to live in my dharma, exploring a new chapter in New York from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hi, I'm Malkia Stampley, and welcome to my life in Brooklyn, New York. All right. Hi, Andrea. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great, and I know your friends call you AJ, so it's okay if I call you AJ.
Yep, that's great.
Awesome. I really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing with us your story. So for our subscribers and our viewers who don't know, I would love for you to just tell a little bit about what you do and just who you are, and then we'll get into the vegan part of it.
Okay, great. Well, I am Andrea Jones Sojola, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and I have Southern roots, and I live in New York City presently. I have a husband and a daughter who turns 9 tomorrow. So a bit of a busy life being a mom and a wife. I'm an actor and a singer. And I have recently moved in the past year from New Jersey to New York, just so I could be a little bit closer to the magic. So that's my life.
Awesome. And I've heard your voice, and it's beautiful.
Thank
Beautiful,
you.
beautiful. AJ and her husband are wonderful performers, and they performed with my brother, Nate Stampley. And so I've had the pleasure of seeing all three of them perform on
Yes,
stage
I feel
together.
like you're my sister because Nate is definitely my brother. He's so special to me, and I feel like he's just a bright spot. He's a bright spot in my life, and I know he's adored by your family. So thank you for sharing him with us.
Oh, yes. How you feel about him is how I've felt my entire life.
Oh,
I love him so much. Shout out to Nate.
yeah,
All right, so we've been talking about just being what it's like being a vegan and what that lifestyle is like. These videos are going to be helpful for those who've been vegan for a long time, those who want to take it to another level, and those new to the vegan diet. And so you are in my view at least on just this high pedestal for me, and you've taken this veganism to a whole nother level, and you have, if I'm not mistaken, an alkaline diet.
yes,
um,
yes,
and then I know that you've been introduced to Dr. Sebi and then his nutritional food plan. And so,
yes,
can you just share with us what an alkaline diet is and who Dr. Sebi is?
yes. So okay, I came upon him by just kind of going down a YouTube rabbit hole. And I saw a documentary years ago, which I'll tell you about in a few minutes. And that documentary kind of led us to him. And he is a Honduran holistic doctor, so not a medical doctor. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if he ever really went to school, or what we like to call school. He went to the school of life, I guess you would say.
Yes.
He's very well known. A lot of people have come to know him through the passing away of Nipsey Hussle, who was a hip hop artist out in LA who recently was shot and killed. But before he passed away, he was trying to do a documentary based on Dr. Sebi, and he kind of let the media know that if something were to happen to him, because he was doing this documentary, like you know why he passed away. So there's some type of connection to why he passed away, and the same with Dr. Sebi, who recently passed away a few years ago. There are lots and lots of theories of how and why that happened. But we do know that this man had a lot of knowledge, and he really tried to help all communities, really, but really focused on people of color and the focus on what our history has been with food and disease. So really, what I do is called the African Biomineral Balance, and that is a name given to this way of eating by Dr. Sebi. And so he created a list of foods, which we refer to as the nutritional guide, which is really just the least detrimental foods to our body. And the premise of it is that all disease or dis-ease is caused by inflammation. And as you know, on the end of all the little sicknesses, or not little, but large sicknesses that we have, there's always the itis, which is itis. Now, you and I know we call something itis when we eat a lot of food at the holiday. We get sleepy, and we call that itis.
Yes.
There is a suffix also called itis, which really just means inflammation. So bronchitis, bursitis, what are some more itises? Just the name of. Yeah, there's plenty of them. And that inflammation is caused by mucus. So Dr. Sebi believes that there are mucus-forming foods that if we eliminate them, then we can also eliminate inflammation, and then in turn eliminate dis-ease. So that's I'm following that as much as I can in this new way of living, and it has really changed my life exponentially, and I'm so grateful that I went down that YouTube rabbit hole.
It was good that day for the rabbit hole.
I mean, it sucks up a lot of time, but I tell you, I just have never felt this wonderful, and I'm really going to make it my life's goal to share this information with as many people as I can, because I feel like we have a lot of healing to do. We really do, physically, emotionally, and I really believe that this way of living, and it really, just not eating animal products in general can really, help us, help our lifestyle, help the earth. It helps a lot of things, and so I'm glad that I am participating in this way of life.
So let's go back. Can you describe what your diet was like before being introduced to Dr. Sebi, and then what led you to decide to follow this?
Yes. Okay. So, well, my life is like most people's, in phases. So I grew up in a very carnivorous family. So my dad is from Georgia originally, and my mom's from Alabama. So you already know there's a whole lot of barbecue going on, and they're not barbecuing zucchini and yellow squash. No, it was none of that. It was pork. Okay, there was a lot of pig in my life, and we enjoyed it. There was a lot of butter and sugar, because my grandmother used to be the designated cake baker and pie maker. So we grew up every holiday with my grandmother coming from Alabama to Kentucky, bringing, I would say, I don't know how she got them in this suitcase, but there would be like maybe 10 or 12 pies and about 8 cakes or so, and she would just kind of hand them out to my siblings and my mom. And then all of a sudden people got fancy, and they were like, oh, can your grandmother make me a little coconut cake, or so there was a lot of that going on. So that's how I grew up, eating like that. And I struggled with weight problems, really my whole life. I was always, when I was younger, I was always about, I would say about 15 pounds over all my little friends. Once I got to college, that 15 went up to about 20 or 30 pounds more than everybody else. And that just kind of kept getting bigger and bigger. Then when I got to grad school, I had a roommate who was vegan. And I had another friend who gave me a book called A Diet for a New America, which I read. And I can't remember if it was that book or another book, but it was about one that sticks out in my mind was the book I read about the man whose father was the creator of Baskin Robbins.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the son turned out to be a vegan because everybody in his family died of, I think, heart attacks.
Wow.
So he connected it to just, having so much dairy and all that kind of stuff. So then I kind of, my mind was kind of like moving towards that. So when I got married, I decided that I wanted to be a vegan. No, excuse me. Let me take that back. I wanted to be a vegetarian.
Okay.
I wanted to be a vegetarian. And I did it for about 5 years. And I lost a lot of weight, not just from the way I was eating. I was also, I would exercise about 3 times a week and nothing strenuous, just, maybe go for a walk, for 30 minutes. It was no big deal, but there was a balance. There definitely was a balance. And I got down to a weight that I really liked and I felt very comfortable in my body. So fast forward to pregnancy, and I had nausea until the day my daughter was born.
Wow.
Which is really unheard of. A lot of people didn't believe that I had morning sickness, past that first trimester.
Right.
Especially my mother-in-law, because because my body was arrested. So I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move. I was literally on the couch the entire pregnancy. My husband called my couch. He was like, "There's your apartment." He called it my whole apartment was the couch because I didn't move from it. And I would try to explain to my mother-in-law, and she's like, "You know what? In South Africa, where I'm from, like life keeps moving. Like nobody stops. Like you got to work. You gotta you can't just like stop." But I don't know what happened to me. I don't know why it happened. I felt like my body kind of failed me. Unfortunately. So I had this baby who was, thank God, the easiest child. She was so wonderful and so sweet. So I said, okay, I guess I had to suffer during that pregnancy to get a kid like this. So I was okay with it. But during that pregnancy, I had no relief. So I thought, well, maybe I need to just start eating meat again or something. I don't know. I just wanted anything that could bring me or just make me forget that I was nauseous. I would just do it. So the actual process of eating, even though it was making me sick, it still was like, at least I'm concentrating on just chewing. It's something different than I gotta go throw up.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and of course, I just kept getting bigger and bigger. And you want to talk about inflammation. So my ankles swole like nobody's business. And unfortunately, that swelling never went away.
Wow.
Most people they'll go away after breastfeeding, all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't breastfeed because of a medicine that I was taking. So nothing left my system, nothing. And I was inflamed for years, and I kept blaming my weight gain and swelling on my kid. And then she was about 6. I can really blame her anymore. But there was a point where she was about, I would say, maybe 4 or so. And we had heard about, Dr. Sebi. I don't know if I told you how, but I'll tell you that in a minute, how I really heard about it, what led up to that. But anyway, I tried following the nutritional guide for about 30 days. And within 2 weeks, the swelling went away in my ankles. I mean, I had tried everything up to that point. There was a thing everybody was doing. It was some kind of fast. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like maybe lemon juice or maple syrup and
the master cleanse with the cayenne pepper and
yeah. So I had done that for 10 days, back after I got pregnant. I mean, after I had my child, I did that, and all I lost was 10 days.
Oh.
No swelling went away. I lost 10 days where I could have been eaten. So even that didn't work. But I had followed Dr. Sebi's nutritional guide for 30 days, and within 2 weeks the swelling went away. And I didn't weigh myself during that time, so I don't know if I lost weight or not, because I wasn't doing it for that. I was just kind of doing it to feel better. So I know that it worked. The reason why I didn't continue with it was because we were traveling and we were leaving Washington, D.C. to come back to come back to New York or New Jersey or something, and I didn't prepare anything to eat, and we left very late at night, and there was nothing open, but the only thing that was open was about 8:30 or 9, and there was a Chick-fil-A open.
Oh no.
I see that driveway, and the next thing you know, I was eating those waffle fries and those nuggets. So it was over. It was over. So after that, I said, okay, I might as well just go ahead and back to eating the way, I was. And then I was continuing just a downward spiral, up until recently when I have gotten back into it. But I just want to back up a little bit if you're interested to know how it really all started. Was I was at a restaurant in New York, one of my favorite vegan restaurants. It's called Peace Food. And we frequent there a lot. And for some reason, this guy that we know, who's also a performing artist, showed up as we were eating our dinner. And he asked, could he sit with us? And so we said, sure, just pull up a chair. And when we were eating, he kept commenting on our food. And he was like, that's really not as good as you think it is. And, that's really not that healthy. And I'm thinking, I'm at a vegan restaurant. What else could you be, what else can you ask of me? Like, this
right.
Leave me alone. Like, get out my plate. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And he said there's a lot of things, a lot of people, there's a lot of things that people don't know about the food that we eat. And there's a lot of things that are disguised as being healthy. And we really don't know what they entail and how they were created, and a lot of them are man-made. And I didn't know what he was talking about. It was all foreign to me, because all I knew was, look, I don't have my daddy's barbecue on my plate. You need to give me some props.
Right.
So, he said, tomorrow I want you to meet me back at this restaurant, and I'm going to give you something I want you to take a look at. So I came back to Midtown, Upper West Side the next day, and he gave me a documentary called Urban Kryptonite.
Okay.
And we watched it, and it took a long time to get through. It took us like a few days to really get through it, because it's a lot to digest. And it's a documentary of several African American holistic doctors from around the country. And they're interviewing them, and they're really discussing like how detrimental the food is that we have eaten as a community, and how we always talk about cancer runs in my family, diabetes runs in my family, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all these diseases. And we're like, well, I'm probably going to die of that because that's what my granddaddy died of, or, so on and so on. And their point was, no, it's just that you keep passing down the food. You keep eating the same food that we ate during slavery, and you're calling it soul food. And you keep thinking that this food that you're eating is because somebody loves you, because grandmama loves you. That's why she put all that butter and that sugar and that salt in that food. If it was tasteless, then that means she's not showing you, her love. And that's really what we have continued to tell ourselves. And so I said, they're stepping on some feet now. They're stepping on some feet. And they talked about, one guy was talking about how we as Christians always pray over our food, and we ask the Lord to bless this food for us, and for the nourishment of our bodies. Mm-hmm. And as long as we say in Jesus' name, this salt and this sugar shouldn't have any effect on us. So it's like we just stopped thinking somewhere along the way, and even since then, I've read. I spent a lot of time on Instagram just scanning, alkaline pages, and something popped up and said that we are, Black people especially, are a group of people that will attend a funeral, and at the repast, we're the ones who eat the same food that killed the person whose funeral we just attended.
Wow.
We don't think about that. We don't think about, why they passed away, but we know at that repast there better be some good food, or we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about how your family didn't pay enough for that catering.
Wow.
That good potato salad.
Yeah, you are so right about it.
Yeah, so that's really kind of how I landed to know about all of it. And then 2 summers ago, I was doing a show and I was doing a costume fitting, and it was a long costume fitting. I tried on so many costumes, and I couldn't stand up properly because my knees were burning. It felt like they were on fire. And I had been told by the doctor before that I had arthritis, but for some reason it had never been as painful as it was that day. And the costume designer kept saying, well, why don't you just sit down, like have a seat, take a minute. And I was like, no, 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 no. Because I didn't want it to get back to the director that they had an actor who, who couldn't even stand up. Because if you can't stand up in a costume fitting, how are you going to do a 2.5-hour show?
Right.
So I was like, no, 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 I'm good. But my eyes were kind of watering.
Yeah.
All I could think about was, how am I going to get home? How am I going to get home? Because I don't even think I can walk, down the street. Like, it's that painful.
Wow.
And so the next day I made the decision that that's the end of the road for that mess. That's the end of the road for that arthritis. That's the end of the road for this swelling. That's the end of the road for feeling fatigue. And at that same summer, I started thinking that I had maybe, what do they call it? Plantar fasciitis or plantar, I forgot. It's something where your feet like are burning and like,
sure.
Not the name of it, but like a lot of people have to wear special insoles inside of their shoes because I would wake up in the morning and I couldn't walk. Like, my feet were hurting so bad. And I've come to find out now it was really just acid, that was in my muscles. So anyway, the next day I decided I'm not looking back. And that was 2 summers ago, and I've been going strong since then.
Look out for part 2 of my interview with Andrea Jones Sojola as she continues to share how Dr. Sebi's African Bio-Mineral Balance completely changed her life.